This July, I decided to take the most ambitious roller coaster road trip of my life. 8 parks, 10 days, 2,500 miles. The journey was on an unprecedented scale, dwarfing previous Thuzy endeavors in my 3 decades on this earth. And while I would be meeting plenty of people along the way, I'd be doing pretty much all of this travel myself. Looking back now, this road trip was absolutely insane. But now that I'm finally home, I want to let you all share in my incredible journey. The ups and downs, the special milestones, the joyous moments, and the absolute heartbreak. Let's hop right in then, shall we? This is my 2024 roller coaster road trip. On the road again. Well, I can't wait to get on the road again. The life I love is riding coasties with my friends, and I can't wait to get on the road again. But before the journey begins, bad news. Thorough investigation by my paid associates at the Department of Defense has revealed that the flat tire that almost entirely derailed my reconnaissance mission, cleverly disguised as a coaster-related road trip, was in fact an act of sabotage, perpetrated by none other than coaster designer and founding member of the recently revived DIN Corporation, Alan Schilke. Despite his best efforts, Schilke was unable to stop my trip, and I was able to gain valuable intel concerning his nefarious machinations. Please like this video and subscribe to the channel to improve my budget for tires, and thus be prepared for such acts of sabotage in the future. This won't be the last. Hello everyone, and the day has finally come. It's finally time for the road trip. It's about 3:30 p.m. here in Philadelphia, and today I drive to Pittsburgh to head to Kennywood tomorrow. It's already been a very eventful day. I blew a tire on the New Jersey Turnpike just trying to get home. So hopefully we'll have better luck throughout the rest of the trip, but I have 5 hours of road tripping ahead of me, and let's hope it goes smoothly. So a little overview of the itinerary, which is very subject to change. So tomorrow will be Saturday, we're gonna go to Kennywood. Sunday, we plan to hit up Darien Lake and Waldameer, and I should get my 200th coaster, which is very exciting. From there, it's a long drive down to Kings Island. After Kings Island, we're gonna be heading down to Kentucky Kingdom, then on to Holiday World, finally back to Kings Island, hitting up Stricker's Grove on the way, because it will be one of the days of the year that Stricker's Grove is open to the public, and finally ending with a nice weekend-long celebration at Cedar Point. It's going to be a lot of traveling, about 1,500 miles of driving, but I think things will go well now that we've gotten the bad juju out of the system already. Thankfully, I found a mechanic in Pittsburgh who had a used tire available for me and could fit me in the first thing in the morning. I just had to drive the entire distance from Philadelphia to Pittsburgh on a spare tire. Well, it's 10:30 p.m. and after 12 hours of being in the car, I'm finally here in Pittsburgh. This nice little Airbnb here, so excited for the true kickoff of the trip tomorrow with Kennywood. In the morning, 15 minutes and $70 unwanted later, I was off to the races. Alright peeps, day 1 is upon us. Time to head out to Kennywood. We're so back. Alright, back at Kennywood. This is my second trip ever. Steel Curtain is still closed, so we're not getting that, but I don't really care because Phantom's Revenge is here, and I'm about to get some Phantom's night rides. It's gonna be great. I got it. Well, Phantom's still Phantom. Great ride. The positives, again, I always said the positives are underrated. They slap. We rode it in row 2, and it was crushing at the bottom of the second drop, and the first drop, too. So, new mural, about to ride Thunderbolt.
You know, I don't understand what was wrong with the original Thunderbolt sign. The original Thunderbolt sign at Heritage. This new graffiti these kids are doing these days is too loud.
Thunderbolt in the back row. Awesome ride. Great laterals. Great. There are actually some decent pops of airtime. I love that thing. It's a pretty crowded day here at Kennywood because we're here on Saturday, right after the 4th of July. But park's open until 10. I'm very excited to get night rides and everything and hope the park clears out. So
Return. Wiener. Wow, what a gorgeous looking lawn ornament. Maybe someday in the next decade I'll be able to ride it. Double down.
I'm still a bit new to this vlog thing, so apologies for leaning a bit heavy on the VO, especially early on, but the Kennywood rides were running great as usual. It was hot as hell that day, which wasn't very fun, but it meant that everything ran fast. Jackrabbit in the back hit as usual with the
double down.
Skyrocket in the back too was a treat. It's such an underrated ride. The surprise highlight of the day, however, was this crazy water jet show they were doing in the middle of the park. I'd never seen anything like it, and I legitimately feared for this man's life, but it was awesome. Especially at the end when he started splashing the crowd. Fun time.
We're entering the Ark. This way, says the elephant. Oh my god, their faces. Oh, I love this place. I love Kennywood. To me, I've always thought it feels like Knoebels if Knoebels are an actual park, which means, you know, it's got great ops, great rides, and, you know, it's actually run well and doesn't feel just like a carnival. We got some amazing rides on Thunderbolt, one in the front, one in the back, which were just sweet. Skyrocket in the back row was awesome. Didn't get Racer because it's had a really long line every day. They're only running one train on each side, but whatever. Obviously, we're gonna finish the night on Phantom Night rides because, like, it's gonna be amazing.
This is the rhythm of the night. The rhythm of the night. This is the rhythm.
And that brings us to the end of day one, Kennywood. It's a very fun day, action-packed day. We got a lot packed into just 6 hours, ending the night on 3 straight Phantom Night rides in a row, which is just, oh my god, it was absolutely incredible. Tomorrow we have an action-packed day as well. We're going all the way up to Six Flags Darien Lake, basically to credit run the park, then head down to Waldameer before ending back here in Pittsburgh. So, see you on the other side. Good night, baby. Sleep. Darien Lake. After an arduous 4-hour journey, shout out to Molly for driving the leg up from Pittsburgh, we began day 2 of coasties at the off-maligned Six Flags Darien Lake. Some of us were less enthused than others to come here, but I was excited for one reason and one reason only: the legendary 1982 Arrow Looper Viper. But first, Moose on the Loose. Despite my palpable excitement, I was unfortunately rather disappointed with Viper, one of my most anticipated coasters of the trip. More on that later.
Hey, Mom, can I have Viper at Magic Mountain? No, son, we have Viper at Magic Mountain at home. Oh, good, they got the straight track on the map.
This was my first ride back on a ride of Steel Clone since our infamous last visit to
Six Flags America.
Unfortunately, this time we did not get stuck on the lift for 20 minutes, but despite a packed station and singular train operations, I was quite satisfied with the ride. Literally just the Six Flags America installation, but slightly better in every single way. Also, a bunch of stuff was closed.
It's just so sad seeing all these SLCs go down.
Thankfully, rides started to open up, and we were nailing the timing with the openings, hitting the Boomerang and Moto Coaster just as they opened.
Honestly, one of the more solid boomerangs I've ever been on. We just had to get from the Boomerang here to the Moto Coaster right over there. How hard can it be? Moto Coaster, the only operating Zamperla on Lake Erie. Predator, hardly know her. Gerstlauer Eurofighter, more like Worslauer Eurofighter, am I right? What a park. Definitely one of the lower tier Six Flags parks, but I had a good time. It was surprisingly crowded, and there was like a Kids Bop concert going on, so there were a bunch of families with children, so it was kind of rough because, you know, they run everything with one train at Darien Lake, which meant we had to wait on some pretty long lines, but besides that, I had a pretty good experience. The ops were great. You know, the park has a nice, charming atmosphere. I started immediately with Viper, and I bum rushed Viper because it was one of my most anticipated credits. I mean, people say it's generally one of the best Arrow Loopers remaining, and
And obviously, being the Arrow fanboy that I am, that was very attractive to me. But unfortunately, I got 3 rides, and I was left a little bit underwhelmed. It just didn't pull the forces that I expected it to. You know, it's just still, I can't find another Arrow looper that comes close to holding a candle to the other Viper out at Magic Mountain. That thing is just like so above grade compared to the rest of the Arrow loopers remaining. It's a shame, but Viper's still a good ride. That snap into the Batwing in the back is like vicious. We went to Superman after, which was Superman. I've been on the America one a lot, so I knew exactly what to expect, but this one's like slightly better. The restraints are a little better, and the setting is a lot better, and it's pretty much the same level of smoothness. We got some decent airtime. I had a good time with it. But the sleeper hit of the trip, surprisingly, so far at least, is Predator at Darien Lake. I couldn't believe how much I liked Predator. We sat up front, and I think if I sat anywhere other than like the front car, I probably would have hated it, but it was like relatively bearable. The Titan track sections were glass smooth, obviously. The sections that were not Titan track were rough, and the transition was very entertaining, but the whole layout offered really solid floater throughout. Like, it was an enjoyable little airtime machine. And beyond that, like, Tantrum was pretty forgettable. They have a good boomerang. Motor coaster is a fun little ride, but, you know, nothing to write home about. It's a nice park. We didn't need to spend more than half a day at it. I just wish it was a little bit less crowded. With our Darien Lake credit run complete, we hopped back in our cars and made the 2-hour trek down Lake Erie to Waldameer, where a major milestone awaited me. I was sitting pretty at 198 credits, and that only meant one thing. Time for a milestone ride, number 200 on Ravine Flyer 3. $200 credit, let's go! I did ride Ravine Flyer 2 a bunch as well, I promise, I promise. Ravine Flyer 2. You guys ever heard of a terrain coaster before? Man, I had no idea what to expect about Waldameer. It's a weird park. I was expecting it to feel like a little mini Knoebels, but it feels like a mix between like Knoebels and like Rye Playland to like some like really nice state fairs. It's a weird park and it's hard to really put a finger on it. It's got a lot of like small park charm, but Ravine Flyer 2, the obvious reason that you go to that park, feels just completely out of place there. And yeah, Ravine Flyer 2 was a fun ride. I mean, I had high expectations going in, and the ride had absolutely savage pacing. Like, anytime you were diving down into the ravine, like, flying over the road, like, it feels claustrophobic, it feels fast as hell. The whole train's, like, shaking, there's incredible airtime, it's wild, one of the best wood coaster experiences out there. And it's, like, just rough enough to, like, make it feel a little more chaotic and out of control without it being, like, too unbearable after a couple of rides. That being said, there are parts where the ride just kind of dies, like, especially at the end. No matter where you are on the train, those last 2 hills are, like, you know, skyrocket-ass hills. They just offer no airtime despite the way they look. But overall, it was a fun ride. I still don't know where I put it in my wooden coaster rankings yet. I think it's going to slot below Ghost Rider, but above Boulder Dash, but don't quote me on that yet, that might change. Ravine Flyer 2 pales in comparison to what I made my 200th credit, the incredible, glorious Ravine Flyer 3. Oh yeah! Actually, the ride was quite fun. The ride op, shout out to the ride op, let us like just take over, do a Thuzy train takeover, gave us an extra lap. We made a whole big thing out of it. It was hilarious. It's a cute little ride, like over the water, nice little setting. There's actually some decent forces, good laterals, hanging over like the front of the train. It's pretty fun. I really liked it. I also surprisingly enjoyed the SBF Visa, which was my first SBF Visa ever, which I guess is a bit shameful given that, you know, I'm an enthusiast. I feel like I should have done that before. But I was sitting in the back and there was some like decent spinny whip kind of like going off of that like twisting drop. I mean, obviously it's a kid's ride, but I enjoyed it more than I'd expect. And the spinning coaster was just kind of forgettable. We didn't get a great ride. The rest of Waldameer is just weird and charming. They have a couple like bizarre, low budget but high charm dark rides, and the Wacky Shack and Pirates Cove, both of which I enjoyed quite a lot, and I kind of wish I had more like of those crappy dark rides in some of the parks that I am closer to. And they have a Larson Drop Tower, which always slaps. The food was good. It's a charming little park. It's weird. I still don't know how I really feel about it. But I think it's definitely worth the trip if you're in the area. Definitely if you're in the area, just for a V Flyer too. It's a unique ride, and it's a very solid wooden coaster.
Welcome to hell, folks.
Okay, so I'm doing my debrief of yesterday from the road because we got back really late and it was a hectic day and I was tired. I'm currently on the way to Kings Island in Ohio after having driven through West Virginia and outside the outskirts of Pittsburgh. At this point, I'm about 2 hours from Kings Island, and I'm gonna get my first ride on the Bat today after I was so tragically taken away from me on my first trip to Kings Island after the Bat derailed literally the day before we were supposed to show up. Can't wait to ride the Bat. So So yeah, I'll see you in the park. Peace out. Kings Island. My effort that day would be rewarded with a relatively empty Monday and one of the most vaunted Cedar Fair parks. At least I got confirmation along the journey that hell is indeed real. Alright, after a 4-hour drive, I made it to Kings Island and made it right to the last credit that I need to get in the park, the Bat. Okay, that lived up to the hype. We got 2 rides, one in the back, one in the front. The back was solid, okay. The front was wild. The front was insane. Highly recommend this ride in the front. It pulls like really strong positives, especially in that helix over there. I'm definitely pointing in the wrong direction, but crazy swinging, wild pacing. It's a bit short, but it's a walk-on, so you could literally just go on again. Like, highly recommend riding the back. Oh yeah, I timed that well. Don't you ever derail on me again. Regretfully, I must state that Banshee was kinda hauling today, and it may no longer be my least favorite B&M invert. Oh, oui, oui, oh, omelette du fromage. So I came into this trip thinking that Diamondback is better than Orion. Just got a warmed up ride on Orion. Now it's pretty damn good, but I still think it's missing a little something. It just feels a little Like the speed hill's really good. There's some solid airtime in the back half, but it's just like missing that bite. So we'll find out if Diamondback is still the king in this park. At least in my opinion. Orion's great though. It's a really good ride. Like, it's my least favorite Giga, but it's still a Giga. So. Diamondback, still my favorite B&M Hyper. It's a little bit worse than I remembered last time, but the long trains, like that first half, just flowjector every single hill for seconds at a time. It's so good. I felt the rattle, but it doesn't really bother me. It's just like the second half didn't really hit, so I don't know if I want that over Orion. We'll think about it. Blue blasters on Blue Hill. Where the fuck is Vortex at Kings Island? I'm definitely not mad that I never got to ride Vortex. Please don't put in the papers that I'm mad that I never got to ride Vortex. The Beast, as always, was a ridiculous ride. Long, with a somewhat pointless layout and too many trims, but it's so unique and it feels like nothing else out there. Solid laterals at points too, and that ending helix is always awesome. I'm a fan. We rode the new Snoopy Boomerang too, and honestly I was quite pleasantly surprised. The thing pulls some solid positives, and the backward section was really fun. Mystic was hauling too. I thought it was very overrated in my previous visit, but it was much better this time around. I'd come to the park with some Kings Island haters, and even they were struggling to find fault with a pretty flawless day.
Hey Laurel, do you like Kings Island? It's been a pretty good day here so far, right?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Awesome park. One of the best in the chain. Some say better than Cedar Point.
And as night fell, we could not deny the call. Following in the footsteps of thousands of enthusiasts before us, we hopped online for the Beast a few minutes before 10 and waited patiently 45 long minutes to experience the wonder of a legendary Beast night ride. So, Beast Night Ride. And let me preface this by saying that a night ride on the Beast is a truly special experience. It's something every coaster enthusiast should have on their bucket list. It's really like nothing else out there. Absolutely crazy. Blitzing through the wilderness like a scenic railway on steroids. You have no idea where you're going, what's going on. It's special. We waited till about 10:45, 11 o'clock, and we were one of the last trains to get on the Beast for the night ride, and we were towards the back. I was very excited. We had a really good 9:30 ride towards the back, which was like dusk. It wasn't totally dark, but it was still really good. We get on the ride, and then some chud in the second or third row whips out their phone and starts recording themselves through the entire ride with the flashlight on, pointed towards his face. So the entire back part of the train was lit up through the wilderness with this bright light emanating from his phone. And it just basically ruined the entire experience, because like the tunnels were just lit up. You could see everything. We were all quite frustrated. My friend Nathaniel was yelling and screaming. When we got to the second lift, basically everyone in the back of the train was bitching out this kid in the front row and telling him to put his phone away, but he did not, which then ruined the final helix sequence. So a really sour way to end what was a pretty awesome day at Kings Island otherwise, unfortunately. But, you know, Kings Island giveth and Kings Island taketh away. Last time we went to Kings Island, we had some pretty nasty stuff going on with my friend trying to rent a wheelchair. Now this time we had this issue with the Beast. There's always something with Kings Island, at least with me. But still, I try to put that behind me and respect how good the rest of the park was pretty much the rest of the day. It was awesome. There weren't really bad lines. Everything was hauling. The Bat was great. Orion and Diamondback were great. Overall, it was a good day. So today, I'm going to be literally storm chasing at Kentucky Kingdom. I'm going to be rope dropping the park. The tropical storm is supposed to roll in at about 3-4 p.m. So thankfully, Kentucky Kingdom's a pretty small park, so we should be able to get everything in today. But we'll see what happens, I guess.
Will I survive Hurricane Beryl as it tears through the heartland of Kentucky? Will Storm Chaser and Lightning Run truly live up to their names? Is Holiday World an actually good park? Tune in next time to find out on Twister 2, the vlog.
Thanks so much for watching part 1 of my crazy Thuzy road trip journey. Next on the docket, we have Kentucky Kingdom, Holiday World, Kings Island again featuring Stricker's Grove, and the epic conclusion to the trip at Cedar Point. What do you think of the trip so far? Any opinions got you surprised? And what are you looking forward to seeing the most in the next stage? If you enjoyed, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. There's plenty more content from the road trip coming down the pipe. And as always, thank you for watching.